It's Monday, the 16th of March, 2026. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1. All 4 of the big banks are now tipping a rate hike tomorrow after the Reserve Bank board meets. It would take the cash rate to 4.1%. But, Sean, the banks aren't just predicting it. They're actually moving already, would you believe? ANZ has hiked fixed mortgage rates before the RBA's even sat down.
Yeah, now in their defence, fixed rate mortgages are priced off the bond market. Yields have been rising, so rates are going up. Variable rate home loans, which most of us pay, they're priced off the cash rate. This time tomorrow, tomorrow afternoon, let's say, maybe we've all got higher variable rate home loans. ANZ's not alone. According to CanStar, 26 lenders have hiked at least one fixed rate in the past fortnight, Michael.
That is a lot. It's not going to be an easy meeting for the Reserve Bank board, is it? Because just last week we were talking about household spending falling for the first time since September 2024, and you'd have to think that that might give the RBA some pause.
Yes, on the other hand, you've got trim mean inflation still at 3.4%, higher than the Reserve Bank wants. Inflation's getting stickier, not softer. Of course, Commonwealth Bank's household spending index is flashing the first real signs of weakness. Consumer sentiment remains low, and now you've got this oil shock.
Yeah, and that is making it almost impossible, right, for the RBA to sit on its hands, because households are starting to feel the pinch. They're going to have to do something, you would think.
Yeah, exactly. Higher oil feeds through to petrol, of course, then transport, logistics. It pushes costs up across the board. The Reserve Bank's been very clear. They are worried about inflation. So even though demand is softening, the supply side pressure from the Middle East is giving them very little room to wait.
Super quickly, if we get a rate hike, what's it going to look like for anyone with a mortgage?
$600,000 mortgage, about $95 extra a month if we get a 25 basis point increase.
Ouch. On top of the damage being done at the petrol station every week,
Yep.
Sean, that is going to hurt. Okay, moving on to story number 2 in terms of the latest in the Middle East. Israel and Iran continue to trade strikes while missile interceptions have been reported in Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Qatar. US President Donald Trump says that Iran wants to make a deal to end the war, but he doesn't want to yet, and I quote, because the terms are not good enough.
In an interview with NBC, Trump said the US had totally demolished the island, which is the main spot for Iran's oil exports. He went on to say, we may hit it a few more times just for fun. Not sure who finds that fun. The US Embassy in Baghdad has warned its citizens in Iraq to leave immediately after a missile hit the building over the weekend. Non-emergency US government employees have been told to leave Amman. Also, the US has identified 6 soldiers killed in a refueling aircraft crash late last week.
Story number 3, Sean, back home now, the local housing market is beginning to stutter a little bit just ahead of likely interest rate hikes, with auctions over the last week recording their lowest preliminary clearance rate all year. It was a busy weekend, though, with close to 3,000 homes going to auction, according to Cotality.
So the preliminary clearance rate for Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane was in that 65, 66, 67% range. That ain't that good. The preliminary number is finalised in a few days' time, normally comes in about 6-8 percentage points lower. Last week, the PCR, the preliminary rate, came in at 72. The final rate was 58%. That is a massive drop. It's going to be very interesting to see how this national average over the last week, which was 66.6%, how far that falls. Now, Adelaide is a city that's bucking the trend. Canberra's not doing real well. Neither is Perth. Just feels like the steam is coming out of the auction market.
It does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it? And the rate hikes are not going to help that at all.
No.
Story number 4, Sean. YouTube has become the largest media company in terms of annual revenue, surpassing Disney for the first time.
A group, Moffett-Nathanson, said YouTube's total revenue was $62 billion US, Disney $61 billion US. Mind you, Disney also have the theme parks on top of that, but still, YouTube is now the biggest media company in terms of revenue. About $40 billion was in ad revenue, which is actually more than Disney, Paramount, NBC Universal and Warner Brothers combined. Incredible how big YouTube is nowadays. While it's huge, still some way behind the major tech platforms. Meta, for example, reported $196 billion last year, about 3 times the level of YouTube.
Story number 5, Porsche, the German car maker, that iconic, right? It was once the most elite of fashionable brands, is now planning to cut jobs as it positions itself to counter US tariffs and really revamp itself after its less than successful EV policy.
Porsche said revenue will fall this year on the back of slower sales in China, where local manufacturers are pushing into the luxury market and competing hard. Also, the cost of sales in its biggest market, the US, have increased by about 700 million euros a year thanks to tariffs. The manufacturer will develop new models positioned above its 911 model and its Cayenne SUV. It said research and development on EV models basically will gradually decline, a bit like Mercedes, BMW. Porsche really aren't going to invest much more in EVs. They're now looking for more hybrid models.
Okay, that's it, Sean. That's the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. We are out of time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Monday, the 16th of March, 2026. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. That is really important. Helps to find the podcast every day. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.